Welcome to Beyond the Coverage. I'm Chris Horner. This is Tour of Flanders 2022, my preview coverage. Now the race starts tomorrow. It's going to be a big race because Wout van Aert, Jumbo-Visma, he is not here. Out sick. Maybe a plan of Quick-Step was to allow Wout van Aert to go up the road and win some of these classics before Tour of Flanders, celebrate too much, and now he's out sick catching the bug. So Quick-Step is my number one strongest team starting Tour of Flanders. Unbelievable, right? You heard me drill in Casper Asgreen many times the tactics of Quick-Steps here on Beyond the Coverage and the butterfly effect. But there is the ability to be the strongest, best team here for Quick-Step if their tactics are right. When you look at their numbers, they're absolutely fabulous when you're talking about Casper Asgreen. I have him out of my top 5 picks here on Beyond the Coverage. I have him as third. I think he's a big-time baller here for Tour of Flanders if he can race tactically smart. He's not as strong as Tadej Pogačar. He's not as strong as Mathieu van der Poel, but he's very, very close. And I don't believe anyone from 4th, 5th on back here as my favorites for Tour of Flanders matches the power of Casper Asgreen. But his tactics have to be perfect. He cannot be aggressive in making the breaks. He needs to follow the moves. He needs to do the minimum work in that move. He needs to allow for the Quick-Step wolf pack at times that don't make that front move to find their ways back on by sitting on back there while he's sitting on at front so that the whole team is rested when they come back together as much as one can be rested when you're doing a 275 kilometer mammoth race like Tour of Flanders is. Now, when you look at him, they can go deeper in the squad. Yves Lamparts looks good. Stybar, we saw him attacking just a few days ago at Dwars door Flanderen, so we know he's on form. Florian Senechel's had some bad luck with crashes, and I believe he'll be solid here. Quick-Step easily have 4-5 big riders here in their team. So if they can get the tactics right, they're my number one team. Now, number 2 team here has to be Bahrain Victorious because they have Matej Mohoric and Jan Tratnik who look fabulous. I have Matej Mohoric as my 5th individual pick here out of the top 5s. But Jan Tratnik, I have 6th. If you want to flip those 2 guys, I'm okay with that. But if I got to pick, I'm going Matej Mohoric because he won Milano Sanremo. So you know he can do 300 kilometers. And here it's only 273. So he doesn't even have to do 3 if he wants to win Tour of Flanders. So he's my number 5 pick out of the top 5s here for the individual riders. And I got his team, Bahrain Victorious, as the 2nd strongest team starting Tour of Flanders. Now, when we get back into the top 5 individuals, I have number 1 on the pick as Tadej Pogačar because I think he is flying and I think he has the best form out of anyone here at Tour of Flanders, including Mathieu van der Poel. Some of you guys are looking at me like I'm crazy, but Mathieu van der Poel, I believe he was solid when we're talking about Dwars door Flanderen. But when we dissect Tadej Pogačar's ride at Dwars door Flanderen, it was marvelous in terms of power, in terms of form, and in terms of his ability to ride the pedals. I think he was absolutely stellar when we're talking about Dwars door Flanderen, and I'll break it down just a little bit further for you guys. Now, we all know under 93 kilometers to go, it was Alpecin Phoenix picking up the pace. Then it was Mathieu van der Poel throwing in attack. Tadej Pogačar is there. Jasper Philipsen, their sprinter, throws in attack. Tadej Pogačar is there. Multiple attacks from other big teams like Jumbo-Visma and FDJ. And then when we get into 71 kilometers to go, this was a small mistake here by Tadej Pogačar. He's a little bit too far back. He's in about 35th position when they go into the right turn to start the Berg ten Oud. And being just that little bit far back, there's a crash in front of him. He avoids going down, but we see him clip out of the pedals, put one foot down. So now we know he's at the back of the peloton when up front, it's Team Ineos up there drilling it. When you look at this next picture, it's single file line. Ineos is going 100% up there, and Tadej Pogačar is not even in the picture. So we know he's got great form because on the Berg ten Oud, there when Ineos threw in the attack and split the group up to the 6 up front favorites with 2 Ineos riders, 1 Mathieu van der Poel, my man Victor Campenaerts is there, of course. Stefan Kuhn is there, and Jumbo-Visma is represented by Tiesj Benoot. That's 6 powerful riders. But let's go back to the peloton, because just 4 kilometers after that crash, Tadej Pogačar is at the front of the group. I'm here to tell you, when you're in a field of this quality of riders and you put your foot down at 71 kilometers, you go through an attack of Ineos, you go up the Berg de Tinhout, and then you're at the front 4 kilometers later. You must have something fabulous in the legs to get yourself from the back of the peloton at a dead stop to the front of the peloton after the speeds had been so dramatically pushed hard through that period of 4 or 5 kilometers with Ineos throwing in attack. Now, to reinforce Tadej Pogačar's stellar form, after you do that big effort to get to the front, it's Quick Step on the front with 2 riders, but they have 6 in this group still. Now, after Quick Step, it's Intermarché on the front, so you know the speeds are fast and that maximum that they can get to when we're talking about guys riding on the front and just drilling it to sell out to try to bring back those 6 favorites up the road. Tadej Pogačar is on fabulous form. I'll back it up with some more proof here when they get on the Canary-Berg after Quick Step gets on the front with Stybar. Stybar's trying to do damage control and bring back or bridge across to that group of 6 up there led by Ineos and Mathieu van der Poel. And Tadej Pogačar is right there, and then we'll go solo over the top of the Canary-Berg to try to bridge the gap up to the 6 leaders. That gap was about 20 seconds when he took off, and he got it down to the closest I could see on television of about 12 seconds. He spends another 8 kilometers, give or take, out front solo, then sits up, gets caught from the group behind, puts his teammates on the front, so you know the pace still isn't slow with his teammates selling out 100%. And then we're going to see Cofidis on the front, followed by Jan Tratnik, Bahrain Victorious. Jan Tratnik's acceleration here has to be incredibly difficult to follow, because we'll just see the peloton blow up into pieces. And again, Tadej Pogačar is up there at the front. Now you start doing the math. 93 kilometers to go with Alpecin Phoenix attack, him covering everything. All the following attacks. 71 kilometers to go, he's dead last. Then 4 kilometers after that, he's at the front. Then he's solo for 7, 8 kilometers. Now he's following the attack from Jan Tratnik. And then the next picture, only about 500-600 meters into Jan Tratnik's acceleration, we'll see the gap there to Tadej Pogačar. I can only assume something in the crowd there might have caused a bit of a split. And again, it's Tadej Pogačar that closes the gap up to Jan Tratnik. Now, let me give you some more evidence to why Tadej Pogačar is the #1 pick here for Tour of Flanders. Even with 25 kilometers to go, when he splits that group up there down to just him and Jan Tratnik and one FDJ rider, Valentin Mandois, sitting on, the gap up to the 6 favorites is still only about 30-35 seconds. And it's not till under 20 kilometers to go that gap finally blows up to about 45 seconds. And we know at that point in time that Tadej Pogačar has finally backed off the pedals. When you factor in all of those times chasing, all those times moving up through the peloton, all the time spent with his foot unclipped, he has to be the big favorite here for Tour of Flanders starting tomorrow, because we all know he can go the distance. We saw at Milano-Sanremo where he was just aggressive over the Cipressa and the Poggio, so we know he can make it to the finish. Now, you guys all think I'm crazy. I did not forget Mathieu van der Poel, and if you want to flip-flop these 2 riders, I understand why you picked Mathieu van der Poel, but if I'm betting my house, I'm going with Tadej Pogačar, even though we all saw Mathieu van der Poel win there on Dwars or Flanders. He's still not my #1 pick. I got him #2, of course. I think he's a legend, but I'm going to put him #2. #3, Kasper Asgreen. I already told you from Quick Step, he's my #3 rider, and I believe legitimately 100% he could win here at Tour of Flanders. But he has to stop burning bullets and shooting his gun all over the place. You got to save the legs throughout this 275 kilometers of mammoth racing, Bergs and Cols here at Tour of Flanders that all the riders are going to experience tomorrow. If he can save his legs, if Kasper Asgreen can survive the first few attacks without wasting extra energy and allowing the Wolfpack to come back to him, allowing his guys back there, Florian Seneschal, to rest up, Yves Lampaert, Stybar, if those riders could rest up sitting on while he's sitting on the front group and the Wolfpack could stay together deeper into the Tour of Flanders, Casper Asgreen has to be an incredible pick here to win Tour of Flanders, but he has to be perfect, and I haven't seen that tactic out of him throughout any of these classic races. He's always trying to win with power instead of finesse because he's one of the best top 3 picks here at Tour of Flanders if he can race intelligently. Fourth on my top 5 picks here at Tour of Flanders has to be Tom Pidcock. He has the speed. We know if it comes down to the finish of Tour of Flanders that he can win in a sprint amongst any of these riders at Tour of Flanders. We saw it last year when he beat none other than Wout van Aert in one of the semi-classics before the big races started, and he gave Wout van Aert a run for his money at Amstel Gold, just losing by just a tire's width there at the finish where we had to wait 20 minutes to find out who won at Amstel Gold. Tom Pidcock hasn't been on great form before in the early races here at the Classics, but when we saw him at Dwars-Vlaanderen, he looked fabulous at that race. I think he can make the distance here at Tour of Flanders, so I'm picking him number 4 because he's always in the right place. He has good speed, and he has a solid Team Ineos squad around him. I'll put his team as the 3rd strongest team here at Tour of Flanders. Quick-Step 1, Bahrain Victorious 2, Ineos 3, and I'm going to jump Jumbo-Visma even further behind Ineos because when we look at Jumbo-Visma's team with Wout van Aert not being here, throughout all the classics, it's easy. Not easy, of course, but when you look at the earlier races and Thies Benoot is attacking, when Christophe Laporte is attacking, when Nathan van Hooijdonk is attacking, those riders have an insurance card in their back pocket. They don't have to worry about blowing up. When Thies Benoot was attacking at the first weekend of the classic races, left and right and throwing everything 100% into the wind and just blowing up when it's all said and done, he pulls out the Wout van Aert card and Wout lights everyone up. So he never has to worry. Now Jumbo-Visma, with Wout van Aert being gone, they're not even the number 1 most dominant team here at Tour of Flanders. I got them way down on the list, just behind Team Ineos even. Even though I see their numbers as being strong, I think Ineos with Tom Pidcock is the better pick. And I think with Ben Turner, the way he was riding at the Classics, and the way that they ride a little bit less throwing energy left and right, I'm going to put Ineos in front of Jumbo-Visma and move Jumbo-Visma to the 4th strongest team here to start Tour of Flanders. Christophe Laporte, I'm not certain if he can go the full distance here at Tour of Flanders, and Thies Benoot does not have the speed to win in any sizable group that'll come to the finish. So when you look at Jumbo-Visma, they go from Wout van Aert being the number 1 ranked rider here at Tour of Flanders, and those 2 riders that would have been in the top 10, now they lose that, and you go from them being number 1 ranked team down to 4th behind Ineos in the top 5. It changes the chemistry dramatically on what we're going to see here at Tour of Flanders. I'll leave you guys with my top 13 picks here with riders that I believe are all in with a shot here at winning Tour of Flanders, and my top 5 picks of the most dominant teams we'll see in tomorrow's race. It should be a fantastic race. The field has even become more compact and tighter on who could be the most dominant rider here at Tour of Flanders now that Wout van Aert has left the race. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the Butterfly Effect when I cover Tour of Flanders 2022. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you real soon.